to the lift and out to the nearest safe assembly point. On each level, there are 2 refuge points, one on each end of the corridor, along with evac chairs, which our staff are trained in case of emergency. So today, I am delighted to introduce Jenny Moore and Stephen Matchett from Danske Bank, Ciara Brennan from Stepping Stones, and Sean Hanna from Now Group. As with all the other sessions, if I could ask if we could keep questions to the end. So I'm now going to hand over to Stephen Matchett, who is joining us on the big screen. Thank you.
Joanne, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stephen Matchett. To first start with an apology, I'm probably the cause of some of the technical difficulties we have encountered. The problem being, for COVID and the weekend, unfortunately, I can't join you in person. So a big thanks and a big shout out to the production team for organising the meetings to join the session today. As CFO of the bank, I'm used to presenting around the bank's numbers, and when I do so, I take a comfort from the fact that I hope I know more about those numbers than the rest of the people in the room. I have to say today it feels a little different, and indeed maybe I maybe have the least of anyone in the room, but together with my colleague Jenny, partners, what we want to do is talk a little bit about our journey so far and diversity and inclusion and disability within that journey. And as Joanne mentioned, a couple of our partners you'll hear from later. But first, I'm going to start with what is Danske Bank. We are Northern Ireland's largest bank, and we've served our customers for almost two years. In 2005, we were purchased by Danske Bank, Denmark's largest bank. And over those 200 years, we've had to do is continually change our customers' needs. And for many of our customers now, those needs can be entirely fulfilled, and all their banking needs met with mobile phone. Recognise for a lot of our customers that they need or they value. And so what we do is supply the needs. Turning to the next slide, over those 200 years is the pillars that underpin our bank. And those pillars are customers, colleagues, stakeholders, partners, and playing a positive role in that. And those all come together purpose, which is helping colleagues and thrive. And Jenny and I are passionate about what we do on diversity and disability, but for different. So on this slide, which is a photo. This photo my partnership with disability back in 2008 when my son Adam was born. And the photo here is of us, our tandem, just about a year ago. And we traveled together on that tandem. Adam is very honest, he's hugely positive about life. So he keeps telling me you're really quite with lots more adventures to come. So Jenny, at this point,
Great, Stephen, thanks very much, and I'm delighted to be sharing the stage today, albeit virtually, with colleagues and partners who share in a collective ambition, one of driving focused and measurable societal change. A little bit about me and why this topic means so much to me. I'm an employment lawyer, but don't hold that against me. I'm often asked why I chose to specialise in this discipline, and I'll give you the short version for now. Ultimately, it's because it gives me the opportunity to advance equality, diversity, inclusion and belonging for all in the workplace. And being an in-house lawyer places me at the heart of business, allowing me to contribute to its overall D&I strategy. I'm also really passionate about tackling the hugely destructive societal issue of domestic abuse. And I've done that through my role as a board member of Women's Aid for the past 6 years or so now. Just wanted to pause and share a quick anecdote. I was in Dublin relatively recently, and as I was walking along Grafton Street, I spotted a woman waving frantically at what I thought was definitely the person behind me. It just shows what happens when I don't wear my glasses. And as it turned out, it was an ex-colleague of mine who now lives and works in Dublin. She has taken up a new role with Airbnb, and when I asked her how she was finding her new position, her response was, "Do you know, Jenny, I just really feel like I belong and have felt that way within a matter of weeks of joining. I'm part of a community." I was really taken by this response. What an achievement for any employer to have new joiners saying that within a matter of a few weeks of starting a company and in a virtual or hybrid environment, that they've created a culture of the truest sense of belonging. I would be pretty confident that that's what we're all striving for here today, and at Danske we're no different. In fact, this is a real driver for us. We hear belonging talked about more and more in societal terms. It's a fundamental human need, and that's a responsibility that we take really seriously at Danske. In fact, I would encourage everyone in the room today, physically or virtually, just to be that little bit more aware of how often you hear people from all diversities mentioning their journey towards a sense of belonging, no matter what the context. I heard it as recently as on Desert Island Discs. The more you listen out for it, the more you will hear it. Colleague feedback really matters to us at Danske and is used to build further momentum behind the work that we started in early 2021 when we conducted our first survey as an organisation through Best Companies. That's an employee engagement specialist delivering data and insights to help drive positive change in the workplace. And our conversation style as an employer is very much a dialogue with colleagues. We're in listening mode, and we recognise that an engaged workforce is something to be celebrated. As Stephen has mentioned already, it's at the core of our purpose as a bank, helping customers, colleagues and society to thrive. In June of this year, we were really proud to be listed in the top 10 best companies in Northern Ireland and achieved a 2-star outstanding accreditation. But for us, that's really just the start of our journey. Now, with that incredibly rich feedback we've received from our colleagues, we're analysing that data and identifying opportunities to make further improvements for our people. And of course, a central component to that is our work on belonging. As part of that survey, we asked colleagues whether they feel included and that they belong in the workplace. And a very high percentage of our colleagues tell us they do, with parity in that response and context of gender. Turning to creating a culture of belonging from the very outset of a candidate's experience with us at Danske, we work hard as a business to convey the importance that we place behind D&I right from inception, and that includes through our executive team at the bank. In 2021, we launched our new contract of employment, setting the tone of inclusivity and belonging as we welcome new colleagues to the bank. We want our prospective colleagues to feel wanted, and part of that we know is through our use of imagery and representation, ensuring language isn't unconsciously signalling towards a specific demographic and thereby ostracising a particular section of our community. Our recruitment team at Danske also play a pivotal role in that journey, and this year we'll be taking all colleagues involved in recruitment and selection through our new equality law and diversity training, ensuring fairness and equality remains at the heart of our recruitment and selection practices. We want to recruit the best at Danske, so we need to draw from the widest and deepest pool, and that means having D&I at the heart of our recruitment practices. But of course, recruitment alone is not enough. We need to create an environment which allows a voice for all, and one which diverse talents can flourish. That means our D&I strategy is central to everything that we do as an employer. The business case is that there's very little value in recruiting a diverse group of colleagues if they cannot realise their full potential when they're with us. So how do we do that then as a bank? Partly through our D&I architecture at Danske. We have 4 colleague-led affinity networks, Enable, our Gender Diversity Network, Origins and the Danske Rainbow Network. Each has an executive committee sponsor who acts as an advocate, an enabler and a strategist. And Stephen plays a pivotal role for us through his position as ex-co-sponsor to Enable, and we'll hear more from him on that shortly. Our affinity groups help to create safe and inclusive environments and serve as powerful education platforms for us. We truly empower them and have an expectation of meaningful action, progress plans with ambitions and targets, and accountability to our Danske Belong Steering Committee. I chair Danske Belong, which acts as our umbrella body for all things DEI and sees our most senior leaders in the bank engaged in our strategic discussions on how we can make further demonstrable change and drive positive impact. Our focus at Danske Bank on diversity, inclusion and belonging is not a nice to have nor an add-on. It's an absolute business, commercial and colleague imperative. Of course, an inclusive workplace that really makes colleagues feel as though they belong means different things to different people. A one-size-fits-all approach will not work. And many of us were brought up with the golden rule, treat others how you wish to be treated. However, in order to be truly inclusive, I would suggest we should try and adapt to others' needs and requirements. So therefore, we can instead adopt the platinum rule, treat others how they wish to be treated. And this means we adapt ourselves to the needs of others rather than expecting them to adapt to our norms. And this adaptation is then central to inclusive leadership. It goes without saying that D&I is fundamentally important all year round for us at the bank, but our D&I Spotlight Week in February this year really provided us with an opportunity to enhance our focus as a business on D&I. It's important to us all what support systems are available and encouraging colleagues to share their perspectives and their lived experiences. Some of our core activities, you can see them on the screen there, included the launch of our Belong calendar and D&I quarterly blog that was led by our D&I partner, Kerry Phillips. Our T for 10 podcasts on D&I led by our digital transformation apprentice, and our external engagement with the NI business community. D&I is part of our DNA, and we want to strongly convey that message. We really welcome the perspectives we benefit from through our external relationships, like Diversity Mark NI, who are an organisation playing a key and pivotal role in Northern Ireland in driving diversity and inclusion. And acting as a bit of a crescendo for us to our D&I Spotlight Week was the launch of our new D&I policy. Our D&I strategy then is the living embodiment of this policy and represents our day-to-day approach as an organisation to embedding D&I across the bank. And as an organisation, we truly see diversity as a strength, and research bears out this perspective. Diversity is a source of insight and adaptability, generating better business ideas and ultimately higher quality service for our customers. We also really place a focus on areas that we believe as a responsible employer are right to drive and consequently provide support for colleagues during the moments that matter. And as well as being the right thing to do, we do know that in Northern Ireland, it's a matter of public record. Some of our equality provisions and laws here have fallen behind those afforded to citizens elsewhere in the UK. So as our equality legislation, most unfortunately, becomes more and more obsolete, this means that it's incumbent upon us as businesses to take the steps to do the right thing by colleagues, both current and prospective. To provide some context to that, at Danske Bank in 2021, we felt compelled to take steps to support colleagues who may be victims of domestic abuse, recognising that whilst domestic abuse may occur in the home, its impact stretches into every aspect of a victim's life, including their working lives. We know that only 5% of employers have specific domestic abuse policies or guidelines, but all will have staff that are affected by domestic abuse. And how do we know that? Well, because 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men will be subject to domestic abuse in their lifetime. Our programme on domestic abuse finds a home in our Belong ambition. You might wonder why Belong? Well, because domestic abuse affects people right across every facet of our society. We know that anybody can be a victim, regardless of their diversity or socioeconomic background. We provide colleagues with a broad range of support in this context, and I wouldn't want to do this subject a disservice by rushing through it. But our domestic abuse policy and our hub for colleagues clearly sets out our proactive steps to support our people. And as part of that offering, we will provide paid leave of up to 10 days for victims or survivors of abuse, discretion to provide additional leave where required. And then in 2021, in absence of what can now be really welcomed as our new legislative framework in Northern Ireland in relation to parental bereavement, we launched our parental bereavement and pregnancy loss policies, which provide a range of support for colleagues who may be impacted by pregnancy loss and parental bereavement. We understand that no policy can fully cover the huge variations in emotional and physical response to loss, but through our inclusive approach, we will support all colleagues who suffer the loss of a pregnancy, whether it happens to them directly, their partner, their baby surrogate mother, regardless of the nature of their loss and whatever their length of service is. And we've also publicly signed the Pregnancy Loss Pledge. So in looking ahead, what's on the horizon for us? Well, as a responsible employer, our goal is to harness the diversity of our teams to produce the best possible work. Our new workplace adjustments policy strives to make more possible for our colleagues, recognising that only when everyone is supported to do their best work can teams function at their highest levels. And to that end, we've created our workplace adjustment guides for both colleagues and people leaders to ensure that everyone is set up for success in supporting our colleagues with the adjustments that they may need, and therefore striving to support them to reach their full potential. Some other work streams worthy of a quick mention are our new career break policy, our trans policy with support for people leaders and colleagues, and a menopause guide to complement the awareness raising and training sessions we delivered throughout the course of last year, all with a core component providing support for our colleagues during the moments that matter in their lives. But we're truly on a journey, and that journey turns us again and again to data and its importance. And I am, albeit virtually, here with our Chief Financial Officer here today, so I'd better talk about numbers at some point. We've set ourselves a D&I data collection year-end target of colleague submission, and we will be conducting informed analysis of that data with an intersectional focus. Having consulted with key stakeholders in the business, we now recognise some of the key barriers to data collection and are currently taking a tailored and targeted approach to encourage colleague engagement where our colleagues so choose. And as I draw to a close, I think it's critical for me to mention that as a bank, we don't shy away from the fact that D&I is good for business. In fact, we celebrate it. Again, it's a matter of public record that diversity and inclusion increases profitability. And McKinsey tells us that different thinking from groups of employees coming from a diverse group of backgrounds can reduce risks by 30%. Through 2022, 75% of organisations with frontline decision-making teams reflecting a diverse and inclusive culture will exceed their financial targets. And this year, the World Economic Forum research shows that companies with above average diversity scores drive 45% average revenue from innovation. So before I pass to Stephen, I think it's clear that at Danske, we truly see diversity and inclusion as good for business. And if Stephen's there, I'll pass back to him.
And before I talk a little bit about D&I and disability, it's probably interesting just journey started even before, and what we've continually tried to respond to our and what we've sought to do is leverage the car for lanyard part of those initiatives. Then moving our disability journey is probably D&I 2015. I volunteered with, and I did so really big, 2%. Just on the next slide. The first perception was between the colleagues, a little or no evidence of workforce and I was concerned Northern Ireland's largest bank really reflective of society we serve. And the second perception, a concern that if inclusion gets dominated, and whether that's gender or other strands, excluding those who don't need vote by. My perception was there are very few people in some way by disability, including disability before it broadened the scope for people to become part of. So turning to the next slide, and the truth was Watkins was entirely wrong, and the piece that I had missed entirely was they're hidden. So whenever I have looked colleagues, I'm looking for physical disability or learning disabilities, hidden disability.
Hi, sorry, Stephen. This is Joanne. You're breaking up quite a bit, unfortunately, and have been throughout the session, so we can't really hear you. So I'm so sorry about that. I don't know if it's a connection issue or do you want someone else want to read the slide, or would you mind if we passed on to Ciara? Apologies, I don't want to cut you short, but
okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so I'll pass on to you, Ciara, and we can maybe come back to you, Stephen, at the end and see if we maybe it sorted itself out with that. Apologies about that. Okay, Ciara.
I just feel like after you sing a song or something when you have this mic in your hand, but don't worry, I'm not going to do it. I was joking earlier about the virtual side of this, that it's kind of a bit like Eurovision, so hopefully we won't get 1 point at the end of it, but I'm actually really delighted to be here. I feel very, very privileged actually as well to be here and to be in this position. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager with Stepping Stones and I, and have been for the last 7 years. And again, it's a position I feel very, very privileged to be in. I absolutely love my job and love what I do. There aren't enough hours in the day to do all that we want to do. Personally speaking, I have a 9-year-old son called Connor. He's a fantastic wee boy and he's autistic. And he asked me probably about 4 months ago, "Mummy, do I have a disability?" And trying to think of the words that you would use back to a 9-year-old that you absolutely adore. And the only thing I could think of saying is, you know what, Connor? You have it's whether you choose to use those words or not. It's whether they mean something to you. It's whether it helps you. I told Connor in the lockdown that he was autistic after he had a huge meltdown one day down at the beach. And it really helped him and it changed his life. And he now understands who he is as a wee person, understands that his brain works differently. And as his mummy, that's the only way I can really help him is to say that, your brain works differently. And then he absolutely adores and loves the work that I do, that it's also helping other people who he feels are like him, that are different. And in his words, difference is good. So I don't really have any words in the back. I just have photographs of all of our wonderful people that we support. Stepping Stones and I, we've been going for 24 years. There's been a lot of words used by Jenny, and it's, they really resonate with us. Our mission is to nurture the potential of people with a disability to thrive in a socially inclusive society. That's what we do. Every day we see people thrive. We see them thrive in their goals, in their personal development, in their achievement, whether that's to gain confidence, to make new friends, to get out the door, to gain a qualification or to get a job. We see that thriving every day, and we're full of pride in that. How do we do it? Over the last 24 years, we've built our charity, our business. We own 5 social businesses, 5 social enterprises. 3 of those are cafes, one's a wedding stationery business, and one is a picture framing business. They are there and they exist to be a realistic training platform for people with a disability. And it really works. because those businesses are open to the public, they make money, which goes back into our organisation. But the big part of that is about changing perceptions of people with a disability. And our main thing is, and we know this through and through, if you get the right support, you can go on to achieve what you want to achieve in life. And we know this. The other side of our business is the employability and training side. So we have a full service employability team that support people who experience barriers to learning and employment. Individuals who have a disability or who identify with maybe not that label come to us and they say, I'd love to work in the bank. I'd love to work in retail. My job is to be a fashion designer one day, and I'd love to get the experience in retail and fashion. So we say, okay, we got you. Let's help you with your goal. And we have to say, working with Danske has been absolutely amazing. They're an outstanding employer to work with. They've really, really grasped this. They've really understood it from the get-go. They've opened the doors, and nothing has been difficult for them. We're very, very fortunate to have 3 of our clients, 3 people with a barrier, if you want to call it that, to employment, who are now working in Danske Bank, and they're thriving. They're thriving every day, and we can see that from them coming in the door with no eye contact, with no confidence, a lack of self-esteem perhaps, to now, as I say, thriving. So, I commend personally Danske Bank for their efforts, for all that they have done in terms of their whole ecosystem of support in supporting our clients. We really commend you in your work and your continuous work. And what I would say to employers, and we work with many employers through all our academies, different types of academies, small groups, we would place our individuals in to provide free training, qualifications, that support. It's knowing those individuals and knowing how they work. And it's creating opportunities, and maybe you don't know how to do it, maybe you don't know where to start, but that's why working with organisations like ourselves and the Now Group and other organisations can really make a difference, because we know our business. We've been doing this for so long, we get it, we can help you, we can educate you, we can help you put processes in place. And for some things, it's really the smallest thing that you need to do. Again, just some of our people, and I just want to end on perceptions and changing perceptions and how important it is. And a big part of my job is about that, and I'm extremely passionate about that. And this is Lewis. This is Lewis, who appeared in one of our marketing billboard campaigns, and you're going to see a short video about him later. Lewis is a fantastic individual who is autistic, who struggled during the lockdown, just like many of us, and came to us and said, I don't know where to go. I've done my qualifications, I'm interested in film, TV, but, I don't know what to do with myself next. So by coming to us and getting the help and the support to build his confidence back up, his self-esteem, meeting new people, getting back out the door again, he has ended up, and, rightfully so, won that position, got that job by himself with some reasonable adjustments, and us working with Danske to make those adjustments. He secured that job, and he is thriving in employment. So that's it from me, and thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'll answer them later. Thank you.
Afternoon, folks. My name is Sean Hanna. I'm from Now Group and delighted to be here. So thank you for Danske Bank for the invitation. My role at the organisation is set as programme manager, so I'm ultimately responsible for 14 projects, just over 1,700 participants and 45 staff members. We currently operate across Northern Ireland on a range of different projects. You'll see some of our figures and stats there that are quite impressive and really proud of. But Now Group formed 21 years ago, so our big 21 in August, big celebration coming. But we're a social enterprise. Our main core mission is to support people with learning difficulties, autism, neurodiverse conditions, and the jobs with a future. It's what we're about. I've been working in the organisation 7 years now, and when I first took over the employment and training programmes we were only currently operating across 3 council areas of Northern Ireland. And last year, the year 21-22, was the first year of our new 3-year strategy. So at Now Group, we go by strategies, what we want to achieve. And our first point of the strategy last year was COVID recovery. Like many organisations, like many businesses, it was COVID recovery year. But in actual fact, for us, it turned out to be a record-breaking year. So you can see the figures that are on the board. We've supported more people than ever before. Those 1,700 people came from every council area of Northern Ireland. We moved more people into employment than we ever have done before. And we supported more people through qualifications, formal qualifications, than we ever have done previously. I'm really proud of all we achieved. We can't do it all without linking with great organisations like Danske Bank and strategic partners. I can see Francis, I have to give a shout out here because he allowed me permission to use the photo today. So Francis got a job during lockdown working in Gymco in Belfast. He had a big aspiration to work in a gym, and he and I worked part-time in Gymco. So Francis was happy to get involved in the photo. But as I said, at Now Group, we're very innovative in what we do and how we do business. We're very particular about the brand and quality of provision that we offer. You can see here the photo that we have aligned. Jared McStravick is head of digital transformation at Danske Bank, and Steve Matthews is CEO at Leaf. And when Diane Dodds was economy minister for Northern Ireland, she had a 10-year vision for Northern Ireland that included 5 key cluster areas, 2 of which were ICT and digital. Now, every year in my role, I sit down with all our participants on our service and I ask them for 3 job aspirations. The way I work is I just measure everything we have, measure what we're doing, what quality of provision we're offering participants. And over 40% wanted a job around digital media, whether it be having their own YouTube channels, social influencers, working in big organisations like Fujitsu, Kainos, Allstate. So we thought, right, let's pursue the opportunity of running a digital academy that'll look at coding, data analytics, and cybersecurity. And we did this, and we approached a range of organisations looking funding. As a social enterprise in the community voluntary sector, we rely heavily on government-funded initiatives. And we approached Danske Bank, who jointly sponsored the initiative with Leaf, who are our current IT provider. And he put up substantial money that has seen 44 individuals go through a digital academy, which we're really proud of. What's more impressive is 90% of those individuals have moved to paid employment, with 3 who are starting with Danske Bank on long-term paid placements, which is hugely successful for us. Allstate also sponsored considerable money for the hardware that was needed for those participants. So some participants enrolled didn't have devices, didn't have laptops, computers to use, and Allstate provided those as well. And I think for us, that's what we're about as an organisation, being innovative, being different, doing things differently, but with a real quality brand. And we're offering something across Northern Ireland and wider just now as we've moved in the Republic of Ireland of a service provision that's aligned to the labour market. There's never been a better time for people with disability to move to employment, and we can't advocate that enough as a sector. It's now our time. We've seen that in recent figures that I've put on the board, and most impressively, when I talk about that figure of paid job is 108, I'll put that in context. So our mission is jobs of the future. Our contract, that one initial contract, is with one programme, and our contract was to move 50 people into employment with a sustainability rate of 14.4%. We did 108 people last year. Our sustainability rate is 83%. We're getting people meaningful jobs, and that's ultimately the difference. At Now Group, we see ourselves as the bridge between employer and employee. So we are participant-led, but we need to be employer-focused. We need to identify skills gaps that within sectors, within organisations, and it's how we fill those, make us different. We're also the proud facilitator of the JAM Card initiative. So you can see here, JAM was founded 9 years ago. Like everything we do at Now Group is co-design. So no matter how much a fund is, how much money we have to spend, we don't sit as a management team around a table and decide on a project. We get participants, service users in the room, and we decide what we're going to do with that money and how is that going to improve their life. And that's where JAM Card was founded. So JAM Card is a credit card sized app that allows our participants and service users to access society and ask for just a minute of patience doing that. We're proud to say we've reached a big milestone that we have 100,000 JAM Card users across the UK. But with that, we need partners trained within JAM Card so our guys can use it. So across Northern Ireland, there's 6,500 JAM Card friendly businesses, which means that our guys feel safe, comfortable using the JAM Card app, whether it be on their phone or credit card sized app when they approach. And tremendous credit to Danske Bank for becoming the first bank ever to be JAM Card friendly and making their branches, their staff trained in disability awareness and jam card, making that more inclusive for people that enter their building. And we did commend those. But as I said, we rely on a lot of partner organisations, and you can see here our CEO Maeve is pictured with representatives from Gulgorm Collection, who own a range of hotels and restaurants across Northern Ireland. They've recently become our strategic partner champion. And to be a strategic partner organisation, you're thinking, Sean, you keep talking about that. What is that? Strategic Partner is an organisation that is jam card friendly, so their staff are trained within disability awareness training that includes neurodiversity in the workplace, managing a colleague, working alongside a colleague, offering real, meaningful, long-term, sustainable positions and jobs, and to be part of our corporate supply chain, whether that be our loaf catering or our pottery that we have also. And we're glad to say at present we have 15 strategic partners, but Gulgorm Collection have given us 9 jobs. So out of that figure of 108, 9 of our participants have moved into sustainable employment over the last 12 months, and all 9 still in employment to this day. So it's really important for us that we have those connections and those organisations that lead the way. Stephen moved to employment with Danske Bank through Stepping Stones back in 2011 and joined our service in late 2011 for in-work support. So at Now Group, we work across that supported employment journey. So outreach in the community, bringing people into our building, going through various assessments, training accreditations, and moving people into work. But our final stage is in-work support. It's funded by Department for Communities, a workable NI programme. And Stephen works at Danske Bank at Clayton House. And I'll give you an example. So I spoke to Stephen on Friday, and I said, Stephen, is it okay to send out a photographer, get a photo done? And he said, Sean, I'd rather do a selfie. Okay, let's do a selfie. So you can see this is Stephen in the picture, but I'll give an example of how we support Stephen. So when I had a conversation on Friday, I said, Stephen, tell me about how we support you. What difference do we make in your life? And he said, right now, Sean, when I started Danske Bank, I was given a buddy, and that buddy is now retiring. So my internal work buddy is now retiring, and that change is affecting my day-to-day operational performance because I'm worried about who my buddy's going to be, who I can turn to for support in work. And that's currently where we're helping Stephen identify new buddies, speaking to Stephen's manager, Leanne Force, around that not disrupting Stephen's work. So Stephen, like anyone else, has that opportunity to go to work and deliver to the best of his ability. So as I said, at Now Group, we see ourselves very much as the bridge of employer and employee. We do recognise that we have 1,700 people on our books at the moment. We want to work with more people than ever before, but we want to help as many employers and businesses than ever before. And I suppose it is a wee bit cliche for myself, but like many people who work in the sector, I love my job. Absolutely love my job. I come to work every day to help other people achieve their dreams and aspirations. Why would you not love your job? But as I said previously, we're at a stage now where it's time for us as a disability sector to step up and start servicing those jobs. We've shown that we can do it. We can do it much more. And if I get some, certainly Now Group participants up from working with them for 7 years, our guys just need an opportunity. It's all they need. They've got the skill set to do the job. They're qualified. They're experienced. They might have low levels of confidence and self-esteem, but that's where we come in and help and support. And all our guys need is an opportunity to succeed. And like many organisations in this room and across Northern Ireland, we're doing a phenomenal job. We won't stop. It's time. That's all from me.
I'm going to step into Stephen's role, so be patient with me. Just to echo, to thank you both for contributing today, but to echo what you're saying, Sean, I remember a conversation I had with Maeve Monaghan, CEO of your organisation, before we took this slot today, and she said, it's just so important to change that narrative. So it's not about what can Danske Bank do for now, what can Danske Bank do for Stepping Stones. It's what you can do for us as an employer, and the skill sets that the 1,700 people that you're describing there in your books can bring. So that is something that's at the heart of what we're trying to achieve in the bank. And to that end, I'm just going to play now a video. We worked with Thought Boxes on this video, and Lewis, who you'll see here, was the co-producer. So he studied film studies, was really keen to be involved, and himself and Jamie here put together this, what we think is an excellent video. Hopefully the sound will work okay for you.
Title title reads Lewis's story. A man walks down the street. People's faces are obscured.
I find it hard to tell what people are thinking, how they're feeling by looking at their faces. So I smile, and usually they smile back.
A couple argue outside the supermarket. Lewis waits uncomfortably.
When I go shopping, I have a list.
Lewis walks down the shopping aisles.
Usually, I can get exactly what I want, because I know which shops to go to and which shelves. But sometimes it's very difficult. When I can't find exactly what I want, it's like I have to follow the list, and it has to be exactly right.
He pays at the till. Back on the street, Lewis pauses at a bookshop.
When I was young, I loved old films. I could repeat movies. I work in a bank. I'm a service advisor. I balance the figures and check the list.
We see him happily working in a bank.
People are nice here. To stay and see how far I can go.
The title reads, Lewis McQuaid is a service advisor at Danske Bank, who happens to be autistic. The second title reads, the people who see the world differently are the ones who see the things we never do.
Just to close then, Stephen was going to suggest that if you lead on disability in the bank or any organisation, just to come with a health warning of high levels of job satisfaction. And I know certainly from having conversations with Stephen through his role as ExCo-sponsor to enable our disability affinity network, he truly believes that statement, and I know that is passionate about everything on our colleague-led affinity network and what they're trying to achieve. I can pause for questions if anybody from the audience has any, or feel free to follow up afterwards. Myself, Sean and Ciara are more than happy to have any conversations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Stephen. Apologies again. So that's the end of the session today. For those of you, it may be the end of the day for some of you, or maybe you're going to go to our closing. Anyone who's coming back again tomorrow, we look forward to seeing you to do it all over again. As with all the other presentations today, this presentation will be available on the website, the app and the virtual platform within the next few days. So thank you so much to all our speakers today. It was really a very informative session. And the final session today will take place in the main conference room on the first floor, so if you'd like to make your way down there. Thank you again.